So the Game Awards just happened a few days ago and quite a few notable things happened. One of them was both Call of Duty and Spider-Man 2 being put in their rightful places. Anyways, Cyberpunk 2077 got awarded Best Ongoing Game, and after seeing that, it reminded me that I still need to play it. So today I got the Platinum Trophy for Cyberpunk 2077. There's a total of 45 trophies included in the Platinum, and the main challenge for the game is the multiple missable trophies regarding the story and some side missions. So the game begins with character creation like usual, and I chose to go with the most average white guy ever. But I gave him a little bit of pizzazz and turned him into a ginger. I may have just nerfed all my chances with woman, but it's okay. I'm still the main character.
Are you crying, bro?
We then awake inside of a garage and have to mess with this car while a policeman tries to find any reason ever to arrest us. Typical. After fixing the car, we ride to a radio station to try and communicate with any sort of female life form out there since I have 0 bitches. Sadly, nobody answered back except for this Chad named Jackie Wells, who is our best friend now. So much so that we go on an adventure and end up shooting out the back of a car at corporate scum who messed with us. They were chasing us because we are transporting a case in the back of our car. And in such case is a damn lizard. Not sure how this affects LeBron's legacy, but alright. We then headed into Night City, which is the place Cyberpunk 2077 primarily takes place. And once we began the game's real intro mission, we got the first trophy of the day. This first mission has us sneak into some enemies' apartment because they are torturing innocent civilians with cold bathwater. Now I thought gamer girl bathwater was bad, but come on, those ice baths are not to meddle with. And we had to carry this poor girl out to the balcony so she could dry off. A bunch of quote-unquote doctors also showed up to save her, but they pointed guns at me and I didn't really feel safe, which is ironic. Also, Jackie wanted to mess up the enemy's house decorations, so he walked through them. What a nice guy. There was then a super awkward driving scene with Jackie, which took forever, and I failed my edge streak during it since I realized you haven't dropped a like and subscribe yet. Shameless. That's what I'm saying. Anyways, we met up with Jackie again, and this guy is really eating Chinese food at 11 AM. What a dog, for real. Honestly, there might be dog in it, you never know. Jackie then took us to a Ripper Dock and we got some upgrades because we were about to have a fancy business meeting with some higher up gangsters in the Night City. As the legends have always said, frick bitches and get money. I then had the business meeting with Dexter Deshawn, who is such a great guy and he offers me a job. I took it since I'm broke. But the job is to break into Arasaka Tower, so we then had to set up a bunch of things. It landed us in a very not so nice area with a man named Dum Dum. Yes, he's probably chromosome deficient, but eventually they showed us this drone we were after. Let's just say we didn't want to pay for it and had to fight the way out. And next I had to go to a strip club. Gosh dang it, how dare they make me? Anyways, while there I sort of watched or relived some memories from one of the dancers who got to spend quality time in the place, if you know what I mean. This is how we found out where the case of goodies is we were after. So I finished all the setups for the heist that feels so much like GTA, I almost thought I was playing it. But thankfully, Will Smith's husband was in the room to distract me. Dexter then basically just told us good luck while looking just as fat as your mother. Jackie and I then went out to do the heist and even got to wear cool suits while doing so. In order to get the drone into the right room, I had to guide it through multiple vents and stuff, but it ended up actually being used just to disable some enemy and not having any relation to the crate at all. However, while getting it out, the Arasaka CEO family showed up and me and Jackie hid with the crate in this one-way wall in the middle of the room. Out of all the hiding places, this might be the dumbest. But at least we didn't get strangled to death like the Arasaka guy did by his son. So that was cool, we got to watch a murder. But what's even cooler is sliding down the side of a building until pretty much falling to death. Anyways, we awoke like a cute couple at the bottom, and Jackie says the chip inside the container we stole is dropping in containment. So his only solution is to shove that son of a bitch inside his brain, not even thinking about the consequences. Now we get to fight our way out whilst also dying inside, but I got a combat trophy, so that's cool. However, Jackie is dying due to the shard in his brain and also being shot, which is not cool. So yeah, that happened. Angry Ginger then showed up and I broke this mirror. Dexter then got mad at me because that was his favorite mirror and he killed me. What a great start. Also, we are playing Cyberpunk 2077 if you didn't know, and I got a trophy for all of that fun. The next mission then has us take over as Keanu Reeves, or Johnny Silverhand, who was a rock star from years ago. He also likes to blow up buildings in his free time, and we did that, but Johnny ended up dying and getting left behind by his crew. So we awake as V again, and there is sort of a mixed memory thing going on, which is why we just play the Silverhand. Basically, that chip that is now in V's head after Jackie died is a construct of Johnny Silverhand. So V and Silverhand are now one and the same, essentially. Okay, got it? Great. We crashed our car again and died. Just kidding, I forgot to actually play the game and had to shoot this dude off of our car's hood. After I did that, we then did crash, but we were fine this time. Also, that dude who saved us is named Takemura, and he basically gives us missions the entire game and is also needed for the first ending trophy, which we are now going after. Before that though, not many trophies are really given since most are all for the end game of the story, or consist of lots and lots of grinding.
I am dead inside.
So a few things we did before the story really picked up was have a coffee date with Takemura, spend quality time with a baddie, beat up a zesty homeless guy for no reason. Oh, and I also got a trophy for doing some combat thing. A while later, I began the questline with Panam, and Lord have mercy, is she something special, let me tell ya. Basically, we had to jump a bunch of enemies at a traffic stop, which we also caused. So I then had to go increase my KD, and that's always a swell time. Also, they had Panam's car, which we got back for her, and I would gladly be her passenger princess any day of the week, I won't lie. We ended up driving to a tunnel to simply just eliminate everyone in it since they are all ops of Panam's. Now with a booty like that, I would do anything, so I just did as she asked and just eliminated everybody. We then did a neat little legal drug deal with some men in a Walmart parking lot, and called it a night by ending up at the motel. Now, down bad actions usually occur in motels, and I had an option to try and coerce one with Panam right away, but I'm honestly afraid of women, so I didn't even ask. God, she's so bad, what the fuck? Okay, anyways, there was a lot of other missions with her, but not much happened in terms of trophies until we ended up capturing this dude named Hellmans, who I assume is a descendant of the Mayo Company. Basically, we made fun of him for having a lot of calories and trans fat until he gave us a trophy. I then ran into a blockade with my main story mission's progress since nobody was giving me a damn call when I needed one. Basically, how the game's missions work is you do a few and then you have to wait a few days for a call from the same people you just did the missions with. Honestly, it's a horrible system since they never call on time. But to fill up that time, I decided to go and do every single cyber psycho encounter in the game. Basically, these are just boss fights with much stronger enemies than usual who have gone insane, hence the psycho part. And after 2 hours of doing this crap, I ended up finishing them all and got the trophy. I ended up finally getting some more main story missions, and we actually began getting somewhere. The next one has us and Takemura meet up with some super important guy who works for the Arasaka family. And we tell him that the son killed the father guy. He basically said we were stupid and didn't believe us. Great mission. So the next objective is to sneak Takemura onto the float for the Arasaka family so he can talk to the daughter and hopefully she will listen to some common sense. My job in all of this was to take out a bunch of snipers during the parade, and I did that easily since they are way too zoomed in on civilians' boobs down below. Right after that, we got a boss fight with this enemy who had some super scary red blades. Thankfully, my giant nuts managed to take him down, and V said something about him breathing but not for long.
He's breathing. For now.
I took that as an instant cue to kill the guy while he was down. However, that was not what Takemura wanted apparently.
No, you didn't have to. Cry?
Occupational hazard is all I gotta say. A while later, we met up with Takemura and he just straight up kidnapped the girl from the float he was in. So W man, I gotta say. Her name is Anako and her dumbass dragged a load of enemies onto us. This next part is the first missable trophy encounter where you need to save Takemura in the burning building for the devil ending. And I ended up doing it because it's not hard at all. You just save him. Me and Johnny then woke up in a motel with a proxy again. And I swear, this is all motels are used for anymore, but the proxy just pretty much made fun of us until we got a trophy finally. I then did a random trophy after where you just craft a legendary component, which is a lot easier than you'd think, much like your sister. I then did another combat trophy and also chose the character background specific dialogue option 10 total times and received another trophy. I then did a main story mission which had us go into the cybernet itself and do some talking to Johnny's old girlfriend or something who was like inside of it. Basically, we need her help to get the chip and Johnny out of me safely without either of us dying. I can't remember what she said, but I think she basically just told us no in a polite way. Anyways, once we awoke in reality, I then had to fight my way out of the area I was in. Once doing so, I got another trophy. So we reached the final main story mission now, and before it started, I did make a save slot just so I can go back and do the other endings after. Basically, this mission consists of you, Takemura, and the girl infiltrating the Arasaka compound to take out the son who killed the father from the beginning. Anyways, it went swimmingly until it didn't, and we had to fight a ton of enemies once more, but I got a combat trophy while doing it. We also got a boss fight with Adam the Smasher, who is what I imagine Adam 22 dreams of becoming but never will. After that fight, which was actually super hard and annoying, it's the end of the game pretty much. You get a final little cutscene and see that some Alabama might be going on in the Arasaka family.
Stop the cap.
But thankfully, we got ripped out of that realm and into the Cybernet, which gave us the devil ending trophy that we were after. The rest of the game that has a ton of conversation and lore inside of the Cybernet before we end up in a facility where they tried to take the chip in Johnny out of V's mind. Long story short, it failed, and V only had a few months left to live, so Takemura showed up and offers him a way to put his soul on a chip himself and come back to life later on. I agreed to this because it sounded cool, and then a dramatic cutscene happened which ended in the actual ending of the game's story, and I got a trophy for that. So now that the main story is done, it's time to go back and do all the other endings of the game, and there's quite a few, so I'm extremely excited for this. Actually, I am, because we got to go finish off Panam's questline first, and it was amazing. Now, when I tell you it was amazing, I mean it was amazing. Honestly, this might be my favorite female character in any game I've ever played so far, but since you guys are here, I had to have censorship on, and I'm a little upset about that, but it's alright. Anyways, after that Godsend questline, I finished up Rogue's one, which is one of Johnny's old band members and love interests from the old days. And I also found all of Johnny's collectibles or something, which was kind of annoying because a few of them are missable, but I did it. So now it's time to go do the other 3 main endings for the game. First, I did the one with Panam, which is much different than the one with Takemura. Instead of just walking into the Arasaka Tower and showing them all what's up, I instead just talked about feelings with Panam, and it was loads of fun.
You got me.
Anyways, we made it to the tower after quite a while, and the fight with Adam the Smasher happened again like we expected. But poor Saul, who was one of Panam's friends, got completely obliterated by Adam. And I gotta say, my heart jumped when I thought Panam was gonna die too.
That is shameless.
So instead of going to the facility full of doctors who failed their job, we got to just ride off into the sunset with Panam on this hovering ship. Low-key loved that, and I got another trophy. The next ending has us go with Johnny's, and is a lot more action-packed with far less compassion and love in it. You end up with Johnny fully taking over V's body, and then taking a bus somewhere. I don't know where, but it's probably to the same place your father went. So the final ending has you team up with Rogue, and V ends up sacrificing himself again into the Cybernet, leaving Johnny in his body unwillingly this time. Kind of similar to what just happened, but it ends with V or Johnny, I honestly don't really know, in space, and it sort of leaves us on a cliffhanger, which is neat. So now the cleanup begins, and the first step is to just do whatever you want because there really isn't any steps, to be honest. I first got a trophy for more combat stuff, and then my next one after finishing River's storyline, which is another side quest thing that was actually quite fun. I then grinded out a trophy where you had to slow time with perks, upgrades, or just whatever you can, and also get 50 kills while time is slowed. I also grinded another trophy right after called Must Be Rats, which had you distract a ton of enemies with the little hacking feature, and conveniently enough, you can just do it over and over on the same enemy in the same place. It's great, I gotta say. I then had to shoot a grenade out of the air, and it suggested to do it while freezing time, but I just did it on accident without doing that, so yeah. I then took out more of my anger onto enemies and got a double kill with one sniper shot to the head. Christmas tree attack is one of the dumbest trophies in the game in my opinion. You have to hack and complete 3 of these things at one time, but each attempt scrambles the letters and makes it either super hard or extremely easy. I got lucky and had all of mine line up perfectly, which made this trophy pop with ease. I then went after the trophy called Damon in the Shell. This is definitely the most frustrating trophy until you understand how it works. You need to craft a grenade hack, but all the components are basically super expensive and both hard and confusing to get. Eventually I figured it out though, and it actually isn't horrible. I then did a superhero landing with a hammer, killing millions of people, and also finished a questline with a hot lesbian. What a ride. Speaking of rides, I then traveled to every single fast travel location, which low-key sucked, but I devised a genius way of tracking them using Photoshop. So take that, game. Next, I modded every part of my body, becoming just as fake as Cardi B's plastic ass. And did a trophy which has you die and then come back to life and kill the same enemy that just killed you. I then found every single tarot card, which is like a scannable collectible of wall art and stuff. And I also began the final few trophies of the game, which were all extremely grindy. You have to complete every single NPCD scanner encounter, which is just like a crime you need to stop, and also do every single gig. There's over 100 NCPD encounters, and I think around 50 or so gigs. So it's safe to say this sucked, but I got my first one when I was finished with the Badlands encounters since they are the easiest. While doing these, I also cleaned up the Carrie storyline and got that trophy, which was quite a zest fest. And I then did all the grindy crap for 4 other locations after. Now I also need to buy every single car, so I did that because I had like 2 mil just burning a hole in my pockets. Hashtag relatable. After that, I also maxed out a skill finally, which took the entire game to do. And I then finished the last 2 locations off and got the platinum trophy. Overall, Cyberpunk 2077 is an extremely fun and unique game, and it's super cool to see them actually fix it up and polish it off since the release of it was quite interesting. So yeah, that was the Cyberpunk 2077 platinum trophy experience. I think the hardest trophy was definitely just the NCPD ones because it's such a long grind to do. Anyways, drop some comments below about what games I should do next, and I just might pick one. Thanks for watching, cutie.